Yeah. Late nights, same room. Kastor's Korner. We're live. We're live. Yeah. We're live. Kastor's Korner. Back when the shelf was a thought in my head. Before the price talk, before what was said. Before the grow up, before they all dip. Before the love turned to what you could flip. Same space, new lens, I adjusted the view. Seen the hype come and go, seen what it do, so moved on. Some lost what was real, I stayed right here. Had to see how it feel. Korner live, yeah, we back in the room. Say it in the chat, let me hear it from you. Why you collect, what it mean, what it do? We don't chase hype, we just stay on the truth. Kastor's Korner, yeah, I see you show up. Same love, new lens, yeah, we building it up. Share the joy, never mind what it costs. If it's real, let it stay. If it's not, let it go. Yeah, now it's less about the shelf, more the reason behind. What you kept, what you left, what you chose over time. Connecticut to Philly, Long Island we know. Seen the culture shift fast, seen the noise get loud. Everybody got a tape when they chasing the crowd. But I'm right here steady, never moved off track. If it don't feel real, I don't bring that back. Built this slow, now I stand on its own. When you step in the room, yeah, you already home. Korner live, yeah, we back in the room. Say it in the chat, let me hear it from you. Why you collect, what it mean, what it do? We don't chase hype, we just stay on the truth. Kastor's Korner, yeah, I see you show up. Same love, new lens, yeah, we building it up. Share the joy, never mind what it costs. If it's real, let it stay. If it's not, let it go. It ain't what it's worth, it's what it mean to you. Not the price on the box, it's what you've been through. Different paths, same spark when it start. Yeah, we all came in with the same heart. Kastor's Korner, Korner, Korner. Oh, Kastor's Korner. Yeah, we're live, we're live, we're live, we're live. Kastor's Korner. We're live.
Well, hi everybody. Welcome to another Saturday night live here on Kastor's Korner. We're happy to have you. And as you can tell by my prop, tonight is going to be I've got my gray skull shirt on, and I couldn't think of a better person to have on. It just like I booked this months ago and just realized that we were going to go see the movie this morning. So without further ado, let me bring Bill in because we got to talk. Hey,
how's it going?
Good. We have a very big storm here in Connecticut right now. So if either of us freeze, we're very sorry. But it's literally like right over the house right now. But
there are machinations of Skeletor.
I can't even begin. I'm just going to jump right in. I can't even begin to tell you how happy I was. I was worried. I was genuinely worried because Junior picked me up on the drive-in and he was like, Bill loved it. And I was like, oh, shit. Because you and I usually differ. Like the Marvel movies I love, you usually don't. The ones that you like love, I usually am like, oh, I was bored out of my mind. Same thing with Star Wars. Like I can't stand Andor, and I love The Mandalorian. And I know like you like The Mandalorian, but like we have different feelings about them. So I had reservations going. Oh, I really hope it's good. It was hands down one of the best adaptations I have ever seen. Of one of our 80s properties. So we'll just start
agree. Yeah, no, I agree. I thought it was an excellent way to adapt Masters, but not just I mean, obviously I think there's a really heavy focus on like, the Filmation cartoon, they drew a lot from that, right? But like it's more than that. Like, they really did pull elements of like from across like kind of the history of Masters of the Universe, which I liked that they went for a they really went for it, right? That like it's it can be high fantasy. You know, it could be all the crazy things that, you know, are part of Masters of the Universe. It could be robots and sci-fi and, like, you know, swords and sorcery and barbarians and, like, you know, like magic and, like, you know, like cyborg cowboys and dudes who, you know, use their heads as a battering ram and, like, you know, guys who are half porcupine or half, like, you know, like fish or whatever. And it really, like, was unabashed in really, like, you know, pulling in all those elements to it in a way that, like, I really liked the confidence of it. And, like, you know, what really came across to me most in the movie, though, was like, and this is where I think it differs. And I haven't seen a lot of people, like, since I saw it the other day for the first time, I've been, like, kind of obsessively reading up about it and everything. Like, you know, 'cause there's things I was, like, genuinely, like, how the heck did they do that? Like, you know, how did they pull that off? Or what was that, like, you know, how did they achieve this effect or achieve that? And I was looking at a lot of, like, you know, takes and, like, you know, responses and reactions and things like that too. And I don't think enough people are saying what to me really endeared the movie to me. And you know, this goes with all the behind the scenes stuff that you could find if you search on, like, socials now, especially this weekend. But it was very clear that not only did, like, you know, the people who made this movie care about Masters as a property, I think they had a super good time making this movie. To me, it really came through that, like, they had a lot of fun making this movie, whether it's Travis Knight, whether it's the cast, you know, whoever it is. Like, I think everybody had an absolute blast making this thing. And I think that the fun that they had was infectious. And it really, at least for me, that I really dialed into that. And I was like, you know, these guys know what they're making. They know when to be serious. They know when not to be serious. And, like, it really came together in that way. And I was, like, fully on board, like, you know, along for the ride. So,
Yeah, I think what struck me the most was, like, I had a moment at the beginning where I thought they're not only pulling from Masters, but there was clearly a Thundercat scene in the opening of the movie.
Yeah.
And I had a moment where I go, oh, if they ever do Thundercats, people are going to think they ripped it off from Masters when really Masters ripped it off from Thundercats. Like that scene with the sword at the beginning with, like, the kid grabbing the sword and, you know, fending off like the bad guys and everything. We're gonna talk a little bit spoilerish. So if you haven't seen the movie, I hesitate to, like, talk about post credits, but, like, plot points and beats like that. I think that they treated it with enough respect, and I think Junior said it best. He goes, "This is the movie I expected to walk into in 1986 and 87. Like, this is the movie we expected back then.
Yeah.
And to get it now, I think it's a little bit of a disservice to the property in a way that people's attention are so fragmented at this point in life that it's not going to get the attention it deserves. Like, had this come out in 1987, it would have been the biggest movie ever. And it would have been, you know, as seminal as Transformers the movie, you know, with Optimus dying and all that stuff. It could have had that piece in the world where today kids aren't buying as many toys just based on an 80s property. It's a lot of us. There's maybe not as wide of appeal, and I hope it does well enough that it doesn't shut down Masters as a property for, you know, 5 or 6 years, like we've seen happen with other properties that kind of, even if the movie was like, Junior also, see, this is the conversation Junior and I had, where the D&D movie was really good for anybody that's played D&D, but it didn't have a wide enough appeal to really go as far as it should have.
Yeah, that's really what I'm afraid of with this movie too, because, like, you know, it really is. It's a kind of a weird movie. Yes, I actually agree with that comment a lot. Nice blend of comedy and action.
That's Derek, by the way. Just so you know.
Cool, right on. It's like, it is an odd movie. Like, you know, it is like, I don't think it is too odd for, like, you know, the everyday person to, like, get into, but what do you call it? And it doesn't rely too much. It does a good job of, like, serving the lore of, like, Masters, but, like, the lore of Masters is, like, so messy and all over the place anyway that, like, doesn't really matter that much, the yeah, like I think it can connect with an audience, the same way that like, the D&D movie, didn't perform really well in theaters. It really did kind of catch a second life, when it came to streaming, because people were like, I wasn't willing to like cough out like, $20 to like see this thing about a game that I've never heard of and is for like nerds. But like it's on like Paramount Plus, like I'll give it a watch. And like everybody who sees that movie is like, it's actually really good. Like it's really funny. It's really entertaining. Like this is just a fun, good movie. So unfortunately with D&D, like, kind of, and we're talking Honor Among Thieves, the Chris Pine one, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
The 2000 movie that can miss me. And the did you know there's 3 sequels to that 2000 D&D movie? Not to go on too much of a tangent.
I didn't know there was
all
a
directed
D&D movie.
Yeah, no, it was bad. The only notable thing about it was one of the greatest quotes from an actor of all time. The bad guy in that original movie is played by Jeremy Irons, and like at the time, like all the like genre stuff wasn't even as big as it is now. So like in an interview, some interviewer was like, Jeremy Irons, like you're a storied actor, like who's done like amazing work on stage and on screen. Like why did you do like Dungeons and Dragons? And his response was, if I'm not mistaken, I just bought a castle and I needed to pay for the furniture for it.
Is it a requirement for D&D movies to have one of those people? Because I feel like that was the same kind of quote you got out of what's his name, Hugh Grant.
Oh yeah,
he's doing interviews like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
They handed me money and they gave me a script. Like,
true, yeah, but yeah. So it's like to my point before, just the D&D Honor Among Thieves, like it did catch a wider net of like people who really enjoyed and appreciated the movie, but it was unfortunately kind of a little too late. By that point, especially with that cast, like a lot of them had moved on to like other projects and everything like that. So kind of wrangling them back together after the like kind of second life that movie had, like on like home video, like it was probably a little more challenging. I do think that there's a couple things in Master's favor, and you can jump in, but I'll kind of go back to my thoughts on.
Yeah, well, I just to wrap up on D&D, I thought what would have been fun was every movie has the same writer creative team, but every movie has a different cast.
Yeah,
like you'd have a different table playing the game. So I thought that would be cool. But yeah, no, with Masters, I think they balanced the funny. They explained away a lot of the goofy that has been like when my partner and I talk about He-Man, she'll look at the figures and go, well, who's that? And I go, oh, that's Spikor because he's got spikes.
Yeah.
And wait, who's that? Oh, that's Fisto. And she's like, why? I go, because he has a giant fist.
He has a big fist. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and she's like,
it rules.
How high were they in the 80s? I go, very. Like,
well, it's not even that. It was some put upon guy in the Mattel bullpen. And it like literally the names of every He-Man character and G.I. Joe character. And I mean, you were with me back in the day at the HasCon, the one time that they did, before they did the PulseCon, they did HasCon live, as an actual convention in Rhode Island. And they had all the old dudes from Real American Hero, G.I. Joe talking about their experience and stuff. And they were fully, open about the fact they're like, oh yeah, we just made all that crap up. Just it would be a thing where they're like, we'd get not an email at the time, but one of the executives would come in at Thursday afternoon or Friday morning and be like, we need 20 new guys because we're putting together series 14 tomorrow. We're pitching it. So you have less than 24 hours to come up with 20 new guys. So they're I don't know what's on the desk. Staple guy. That's our guy. He's the G.I. Joe staple dude. And literally just pulling all of it out their asses. So
well, not only that, but it was also made for four and up.
Yeah.
Right. He-Man was made for 4-year-old boys and up. And so, yeah, you need something simplistic, and them explaining it that way in the film and really getting at why the characters are named the way they're named and then embracing why they're named. Although I will say, it worked on one hand, but then as I was driving home, I was like, oh, but wait, how did Evil Lynn get her name? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't work for the villains.
It's definitely not a perfect joke. And I do think that they repeat it a little too often. There's like one too many beats where they like repeat the like, wait, your name is really that kind of thing. But like, it like to me it worked just because there's like a beautiful payoff at the end. When Adam actually finally admits that Tila's name in his kind of headcanon here was warrior goddess, which is a great nod back to original Tila, but also just a really sweet moment between the two of them. So but yeah, it's like I agree though, I like of the things that I thought were incredibly smart in the movie, one of the smartest was the fact that they're threading the needle to say these aren't really these guys' names, but these are the names that had been assigned by a 10-year-old boy to them. Because he didn't know their real names or didn't remember them after being stranded from Eternia for so long. But he remembered that. He remembered, oh yeah, the guy with the big ass hand is Fisto, of course. He punches guys.
I thought it was a little. The only thing these nitpicks are just afterthoughts going, oh yeah, no, they really didn't do that. Where they don't actually get names throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you only get their code names.
Yeah.
So you don't know what Fisto's real name is. You don't get to know what Ram Man's real name is, even though they make it a point to say they have real names. So, and again, it's not necessarily a nitpick. It's just one of those things that I think and go, oh, it would have been nice if one day they were, at one point in the story, they were just like, hey, Gary, what do you think about doing that? You know what I mean? Because Duncan gets a name. The king gets a name. Everybody, the other people get their names and get to use them.
Yeah.
So Tila gets hurt. So I just mean, not that it's a nitpick, but it's just it could have been throwaway. It could have been a moment that could have made a little bit of a difference. But
it could have been. But I was fine with. I was fine without it just because it was more organic. Because it is actually cool how many characters are not named. Just because that's not the way. If they did too much of that, outside of the kind of code name, gimmick of Adam coming up with these names when he was a kid, I feel like doing too much of that would feel too expository because it's just not the way people actually talk in real life. I'm not like, hey, Khalil, did you see this thing? Oh, Khalil. It's that's just not the way people talk to each other. So,
right. Yeah, no, I didn't mean necessarily go over and over and over again, but there was there's one scene where Ram Man walks into a room and everybody's talking and he goes, oh, that's Ram Man. And nobody goes, that's Steve. Just that kind of thing. And then just go on and never come back to it. Yeah. I think the character designs, I think also were really well done. Just because I just think it could have gone really poorly.
But it does not.
It does not. It doesn't at all. It doesn't. It's one of those things where you just go, they didn't go deep. A lot of it's very surface. A lot of it's introduction, like the comment here, they ignore the lore. I'm okay with that too, of ignoring that, because it's that's not what the movie was about. We stay on track with it. We kind of introduce the world as a bigger world and we go on from it. But they had good moments. They had really good moments.
They did, yeah. And the visual design and the character design and the overall design of the movie, just how colorful and bright it is and everything, and how they smartly adapt all of the actual classic MOTU character costume designs into something practical and functional. I thought it was an absolute win. It just the movie looks incredible. It really does. I think it looks fantastic. But I was hooked as soon as I saw the first trailer. That I was oh, they found the right way to make this as silly as it needs to be without making it a farce. Which is really because they could have done that too, right? This could have been an out and out straight up satire, but even when they do poke at the silliness, the inherent silliness of Masters of the Universe, which there is a lot of, it's always done in a loving way rather than in kind of like, a cynical way or in a way that's like, yeah, see, we get it. This is like, really stupid, right, guys? Like, it was very lovingly satirical when it was. And, but it like clearly, again, it came from just a place, I feel, of just like true respect and true like passion for Masters and what Masters is, and what it can be. So,
I don't think we can. I think the biggest place where you and I differ is talking about what people are saying is arguably the standout of the film, where I don't think it mattered, and you think it mattered a lot.
I do, and I absolutely can't stand the fact that Jared Leto gives the best performance in the movie as Skeletor. But I really think he does. I think he really created a character, and I think he put a lot into it, which is interesting because you see nothing of him. Like, if it really was him in the suit, on set the entire time, who the heck knows? Or if they pulled a Mandalorian move, where he's only in part of the scenes or whatever.
They said he was in that suit.
It's still, but even in that case, it's a head to toe suit, and then his face is like CGI replaced, with obviously with motion capture and stuff like that to kind of mimic facial movement, as much as a skull can, but yeah, I think he actually put in effort, and I think he really created a character that still harkened back to the elements that make Skeletor great. The fact that he is truly evil, the fact that he can be really dangerous and imposing, but he's also completely full of himself. He's also just cripplingly arrogant, he is obnoxious, and he's kind of nowhere near as smart as he thinks he is. And honestly, in retrospect, as much as I hated it as soon as they announced Jared Leto was cast, I was honestly, the performance he gives kind of nails all of that, and it really goes into all the things that usually annoy me about Jared Leto performances, because I feel like a lot of his roles, what he'll do is all of those things. He'll be over the top, he'll be arch, he'll be annoying, he'll be in a mindset that he is I'm way smarter than this movie, I'm way smarter than the audience, I'm way smarter than the material, I'm 4D chess, to to put it one way, he's playing. All of that to me works for Skeletor, and all of that's really important for Skeletor. The fact that that's part of who this guy is too. He's so full of himself that he's he needs to have that obnoxiousness and that arrogance, and that was the biggest delight for me of the movie, is or one of the biggest delights, because honestly, nothing beats the Eye of the Power scene. It is so perfectly executed the first time the transformation happens. It just is really, really something. And I don't think there is anybody who grew up with He-Man who won't feel something when they see that scene.
I don't think you caught it, because you were 3 seats down from me. I literally jumped out of my seat. I literally was reclined back, and it was fine. And I literally almost stood up.
Yeah.
I was this close to standing up and going, just pure and just passion. I was just so rocked.
Yeah.
By that moment, it took me by such surprise, even though I knew it was coming. I've seen the trailers. I knew when it was going to happen. I knew what it sounded like, but in that moment, just being in that movie,
it just works.
It just works. Yeah. But to go back to Skeletor, for me, it feels like Jared Leto was such a non-issue for me. Of I don't see any of him in the performance. I watching Idris Elba as Man-at-Arms. There was physicality, there was emotion, there was not pride, but a cockiness there to him that you saw die and then come back, and a confidence level that kind of, and it all ran across his face. Like his face changed throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
And with Skeletor having the face completely motion capture and the head to toe suit and the voice was so different than what I know of Jared Leto.
Yeah.
That like I feel like you could have put anybody in that suit and had them read the line, had somebody else read the lines, and you wouldn't know the difference. And I know like we're not going to agree on it, but like I feel like you could tell me tomorrow that like The Rock is in that suit and they have somebody else doing the lines, and I would be like, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I don't care.
Well, I really do think if there's a future to this this franchise, like, I sincerely doubt that like Leto will come back. That's just my personal vibe. I mean, like, he's definitely the most like famous person within the cast, right? Like, so I'm assuming he's the like
Idris Elba is the most famous person in the cast.
Maybe, but I don't know. Like he's up there too, but like I feel like the and the amount of like bad press that they got in the months leading up to the movie because of Leto being in the movie as well. Because there was a lot of just like not even bad press, but just like waves of negativity and question marks and stuff like from like just everyday people and everything online being like, why is he in this? It definitely, I mean, I was guilty of that too. That was the one incongruous thing where I was like, like when they first announced the cast like a year ago, I was like, oh, this cast actually seems awesome. Like, this seems like a really promising cast, but then there's also Jared Leto. So what the heck is going on with that?
I think we all had that moment.
Yeah. And, but so that's what I'm saying. But like, I do think, I agree with you insofar as like anybody else can now come in and do that same performance. Like, Leto doesn't have to come back to continue Skeletor the way he was in this movie necessarily. But I do give credit to Leto as much as I don't want to, that like I think that the way someone else would play Skeletor will be like indebted now to like what Leto did in this movie. I kind of view it. You had brought up Russ Marquand, who took over as the Red Skull after Hugo Weaving. And like, no offense to like Russ Marquand, like I think he does a very good job, like in the Avengers movies playing Red Skull, but like he is very much just continuing what Hugo Weaving did. Like he is giving an impression. It's an impression of Hugo Weaving. I do think that anybody can step in to play Skeletor, like in another He-Man project, but like it would be the same thing. They'd be doing an impression of what Leto did here.
I think the thing I'm getting stuck on is like I feel like Skeletor specifically, can't believe we're talking about this so seriously. But this is where we are. Skeletor especially felt as one of like a Jar Jar Binks for me. Mm-hmm. So like the animators and the director gave the direction on the performance in a way that negated for me any contribution that Leto gave to it. Like I think they had a heavier hand in the movement and facial expression because they didn't do the dots. Yeah. The face was 100% animated because they didn't use any dots or any of the mocap stuff. Yeah. So they animated the face completely. And so for me looking at it going, he was just a guy in a suit. And knowing how animation works and the voiceover for that animation works, like they're in the booth and they give 5 different readings. So looking at it going, the director then taking that and putting it into a scene the way he wanted to, I give more credit for them crafting Leto's performance into the movie rather than Leto creating the moments than he did. So like I'm looking at it that he was an animated character in the movie, and so I don't see a lot of the contributions from him.
That's fine. I mean, the last thing I want to do is seem like I am like Like,
No.
I do not want to invest that much time in, like, defense of Jared Leto, who is one of my least favorite actors who moves in genre stuff. But
I think it's an interesting question as we kind of move into a lot more CGI stuff in our world.
Well, and not just CGI, but and not just CGI, but more and more of these, to your point, these like hybrid creations that are not really, like it's not just one role. And like, one of the things, I mean, even barring CGI, looking at something like The Mandalorian, like, since from the first season all the way up to now, especially in the movie, like, it is not like Pedro Pascal is like the voice of the Mandalorian, but like, he is not the only guy. In fact, he usually isn't the guy like in anything past like the first season. Right. Now, to their credit, and honestly, the only thing I really, really, really liked about Mandalorian and Grogu was my favorite part by far was the fact that they second billing in the movie is like the other two actors who like play the Mandalorian. Like in credits, I thought was excellent, and supposedly Pascal was very involved in campaigning to get them that credit order. And if that's true, then again, like many props to him, because I think that is super cool to do.
And I can like I don't really want to go down this road, but like for me, I think Mandalorian and this is if anybody's watching and want to know where we differ, I think Mando and Grogu is my favorite Star Wars film since The Force Awakens.
Good, awesome.
I think
we haven't like
that's number 2, and
we
so like
about it. So
I'm just saying like. You praise it for that, and that's like your high praise for it. And mine is like, I think it was one of the best movies they've done in a very long time. But I think for He-Man, I think it was, so I had 2 thoughts. One, and we can tackle these in different ways because I know we're getting towards the end, but like I think there's 2 thoughts I had. One, excuse me. Initially, my thought was this guy's too small. He can't pull off He-Man. He can pull off Adam. He can't pull off He-Man. I said they should have done an Incredible Hulk thing where Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno split the parts, and they should have gotten. I'm not saying this would have been a good idea, but it should have been like he plays Adam and then John Cena plays He-Man. Like that kind of like separation, like a big guy, like the really square jaw and like the big and. But you know what? I was wrong. Like he like in the 80s, He-Man was supposed to look like Conan and Schwarzenegger and however you thought about the bodybuilders of that time and the wrestlers of that time and the steroids that got them there. Like that was the look that they were going for. And they were trying to get kids to work out and be physically fit, and like that lie that they were selling to us in the 80s of like, you can look like that too. I was wrong about that. And then, I lost the other thing.
I agree though. Like, I think, I feel bad because I still don't know how to say his name. Nick, Galzatine. I don't know how to pronounce it. I thought he was really good. I thought he really looked the part. I was also wondering, and like, especially after seeing The Sheep Detectives a couple weeks ago, which he also stars in, before this movie came out, I was like, oh, he's actually not that tall. But, and this is a thing where, again, like, not to such an extreme degree as we were talking about, but, it's another case where part of that comes in with like creative directing and like, the cinematography and like, the photography of the movie. I noticed this, especially today, the second time through watching the movie. They did an interesting thing with like camera angles where like, even just simple like trick shots, they didn't need to do like heavy expensive digital stuff or anything, but like simple, like, ways to like tilt the camera, to make when he is He-Man, make him look bigger. So all of a sudden, like, they can angle a shot differently when he's standing next to like Tila, like, and like, instead of her being slightly shorter than him, like she's like way shorter than him when he's like He-Man as opposed to Adam. So I like that they did a lot of like clever, inexpensive things like that to really kind of sell it, and like, even like, it's like one of those things, like they'll tilt the camera down a little bit, like, when he's He-Man, because then it'll make his shoulders look even more broad and it'll make his head look slightly smaller because of force perspective back. So, which again, just makes his like chest and his body look bigger. So there was some really clever stuff like that I was like, I liked how old school it was. that they weren't like, oh, we're just gonna like shoot them on green screen and superimpose them in or whatever, like, do any kind of, stuff like that. They were like, oh yeah, we're literally just gonna like, do like trick photography to make him look bigger, even bigger, like, when he's He-Man. So
yeah,
it was fun.
My other thought was, we always want more, right? That's just what we were brought up on. Like, we want the next episode, we want the sequel, we want more toys, we want more characters. I feel content with what we saw.
Yeah.
Like, we were never to get another He-Man movie again, and this was it. I think they did a good enough job. We got big hits, we got intro, we got a lot of big characters. We got teases and mentions and cameos and everything in between that, like, it was everything I needed it to be. And if this is all we got, I'm content. I want more. Like, don't get me wrong, I want more, but I don't feel like it's necessary. Like,
I'm in the exact I'm in the exact same boat. It felt outside of two of the three stingers at the end of the credits. It did feel very self-contained, which I liked. It felt like a complete story. It did not feel like it had to be like chapter one, or they left on a cliffhanger, or even like a case where it's like, oh yeah, like we're just gonna, like the later Marvel mistake that they made, right? Where like the MCU movies would be like, we're just gonna do a really good movie, and then we're gonna devote this 20-minute block in the center that's clearly just like setting up table setting for like what's gonna happen like 3 movies from now. There wasn't really much of that outside of like the end credits. So I liked that a lot. I thought that was I really appreciated that. I thought that was very cool.
I think we've stayed relatively spoiler free.
Yes.
Like, I think that we've talked a little bit about how the plot is handled, but didn't necessarily give away any major stories or any major moments that weren't in the trailers. So you can go back and watch it on the replay and be okay, and you can stay. We're almost done. So
I don't think we're really going to delve into spoiler territory. I will say to that degree, though, and this is going back to what we were previously talking about, like what future this has. And I'm with you. If this is it, like I thought they did an excellent Masters movie, and I'm very happy with it. I would love them to make more. Here's where I think this differs from something like a Dungeons and Dragons, though, that like this was a very expensive movie to make, as was D&D. This was more expensive than D&D, but like both of those were very pricey to make. But the difference is, in my opinion, they did not cast as many kind of high tier actors and well-known actors in Masters. And I think that is actually one thing that could help them in the future to insulate against things, because like, there's really only a couple of like big name actors in the movie. They're really good. But the other thing is, Masters has such a deep roster of characters that like you can cycle them out, in or out, based on availability and stuff like that, and it doesn't have to be a seismic thing. Like, you can have a story that doesn't necessarily have to have like, Duncan be super involved. If Idris Elba is not available for like a sequel, or if like, they can't afford it because they have to like, dial back the budget somewhere or something. You don't have to like, do the stupid thing and like, kill him off. You could just tell a story that doesn't have him really central, like, and have him do like a cameo or something instead. And like,
and they did that in Thor. They did that in Thor.
Yeah,
when they
exactly.
didn't need to use him. They didn't. He just had a small enough part that he came and went. I totally agree with you on that. I think that there's enough room to maneuver and enough stories to tell that this could be a trilogy or it could be a one-off, and I'm fine with it.
And they did a great job. The other thing I just wanted to say, because I don't want to sound like I'm being disrespectful, the actors they did get to play the other characters, I thought were fantastic. Even if they were like, fairly like, not the most well-named, not the most well-known of actors. I thought they were excellent. And honestly, like, they brought a lot to the roles. And I was like, oh, you know what? Like they felt like really solid character actors in this kind of post MCU, like, franchise film world. I was like, oh man, like, you know, by the end of the movie, I was like, oh yeah, like, you know, I know that dude who plays Fisto. He's cool as hell. Like, I actually literally just followed him on Instagram today, and the guy who plays Ram Man, like, you know, like, so, like, I think that they will, like, they've got some juice in these movies, in this movie. And, like, you know, I think, you know, so it's not to say that I don't think they have, like, you know, careers or anything. It's just like, you know, they're on a level that, like, you know, I'm sure, like, you know, they would be, you know, thrilled to be able to come back and do, like, you know, more of the Masters movies, you know, like, in a way that, like, you know, if it were even, like, you know, D&D, where all of a sudden you've got, like, you know, you're dealing with, like, Chris Pine and Hugh Grant and, like, stuff like that, who are, like, you know, oh, like, you know, I've got, like, you know, like 10 movies, like, you know, booked out, so I can come back maybe in, like, 3 years, you know. So
yeah, no, and I think what was, I think I'm gonna, like, last thing I'll bring up before we wrap is Junior once again asked. See, this would have been good if we could have done a roundtable, but Junior's always busy. Junior said, "Does this make you want to go out and buy toys?" And I think it was a really strange, how I say this, is a very strange question for me. Just reacting to it, like, my reaction wasn't the same. Not the reaction I had wasn't, oh my god, this movie made me want to go buy toys. I think I thought, oh, this movie made me appreciate the toys I have. Nice. Which is a switch for me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I've been collecting He-Man since Wave 1, like 1982.
Yeah.
Like, 3 years old. He-Man's my first action figure. I've had that figure in my hand for 45 years now. And so I don't feel like I need to go out and buy more. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to stop. Like, I will buy what I'm going to buy and what I always planned to buy, but it's not making me want more things. I appreciate that they've done 3 tiers with the Chronicles for collectors. They did the Origins for, like, the OG collectors, for like me. And then they did the kids line, the basics. Yeah. And I think the core line is great for parents to get their kids, because they're what, $10, $9? Yeah,
it's insane.
It's like great, awesome. Like, you can get them the main cast of the movie in almost 2 waves, and you get a play set and vehicles and like, you can get your kids this if you're a parent and want to do this. Origins scratches my itch. And Chronicles just didn't do it for me. I'm trying to see if I have. Yeah, I've got my Idris Elba here, and he's a little bit loose. Yeah, you know, he's not very, like, when I try to stand him up, this leg is very wobbly. I've heard everybody else hasn't had the problem, but, like, I'm not sad I got this, but it doesn't make me want more of this type. So if Mattel was trying to capture us and bring us in deeper, I think a lot of us are at the point where we're going, let's pump the brakes a little bit. And I know, like, you and Derek and Junior are all like, give me all of it. Like,
we have a very different take on Chronicles. Like, you know, I've had a couple of them that are a little bit loose, but I do think the engineering on those is, like, remarkably good overall. And if Mattel can work on tightening them up a little bit, I think they really could have something that could rival or replace, you know, what like, you know, Marvel Legends is doing in terms of you know, buck design and engineering. Because I think it's a really, really, really great base body that they're working with for those. So, like, you know, I mean, that was enough for me. That, like, you know, the sort of toy engineering nerd side of me is what really drew me to Chronicles. You know, but honestly, it's the, like, you know, the kids line, you know, between the price and the quality of them is really what is, like, really, like, I was not planning on getting any of those, and I'm like way in on those now, just because of the affordability and because of, like, you know, the quality of them compared to the value is just insane. And I mean, the fact that, like, you know, one of the props that I brought with me over here is, like, you know, I just got 2 more of the Skeletor's Henchman today. 2 more of those. $10, like I cannot tell you. Like, can you remember when was the last time there was a like really good, fully posable like villain henchman army builder figure for like $10 at standard retail? Like the last thing I could remember is like, you know, the Hydra Soldier when it came to TJ Maxx, like, you know, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I'd say Marvel Universe was the last time that
Yeah.
army built at $10 a pop.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. Like, you know, which again, we're talking like over 10 years ago at this point.
Close to 20. Like
Yeah.
at this, like almost 15.
Yeah.
Or more. Yeah, no, I think like it did make like I got this before the movie. I'm not sorry that I got this.
Yeah.
But there was an excitement there, and I brought it to my mom, and she got to see it, and she was excited about it. Like I want to watch this with my mom. So I'm like, as much as I'm like, do really good, stay in the theaters, make a lot of money. I'm like, when is it coming to DVD? Because I want to bring it so she can watch it. So I think that like, yeah, I think it's and I don't know, because like I usually watch movies and go, do I want those toys? Like that's usually how I watch movies lately, especially like in our genre, and go, does it make me want to buy toys? And I haven't had a movie lately that makes me go, oh, I really want that action figure. I want an action figure of that. Like Force Awakens was one of the last times that happened for me.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I saw that movie. I didn't buy any. I went to the midnight with you at Toys R Us. And I remember not getting anything, just going with you to be there.
Yeah.
And I remember watching Force Awakens. And as soon as the movie was over, I went to Target and started buying the figures. So it was like, it's been a while since a property has made me go, oh, I need to have that.
Yeah.
So
it has been for me too, like, to be perfectly honest, because like, you know, most of the time, you know, for me, it is very rare that I'll go see a movie and then be like, oh man, I have to, like, you know, go get the toys based on this, even though I wasn't going to get them. It does happen once in a while. Like, I can't think of the last time, but probably the James Gunn Suicide Squad. When McFarlane did that wave, because I like my rule with McFarlane was like, you know, no movie toys outside of like Tim Burton Batman stuff. I was like, you know, I'll do select comic figures, but like, you know, no movie stuff, no like, you know, like DC, you know, expanded universe stuff, that sort of thing. I saw that movie, I liked it so much, I was like, you know what, like I got to get those. But like, what is like the reason I don't do it too often though with movie stuff is because one of the big nostalgia kicks for me is that like, the toys that come out before the movie, and like, you know, being able to buy the toys and check them out and like kind of painting that picture with your imagination, right? Of like, you know, oh, how does this stuff fit together? And like, like Masters is a little bit different because like, you know, we know a lot of the tropes in it. You know, there's no like, you know, surprise characters in like, you know, what Mattel released on like, you know, like back in April for toys where you're like, who is this character? Like, what do they do? Like, you know, all this stuff is like existent within the Masters universe, but like, yeah, I always had such a soft spot for that. Like, you know, be it Star Wars or Jurassic Park or whatever, like, you know, where you'd see that toy line, like just like, you know, pop up in support of a movie that was coming out later that summer, you know, but it would always come out a couple months ahead of time. And like, you know, you just see it and you're like, well, that looks cool. I really am excited to see that on the screen. And then when you get older, it comes to the reverse where like, you know, I remember this too. Like, you know, there was Jurassic Park actually is the one that burned me where like, I was like, oh man, there's cool stuff in this that they're like, you know, showing in the toys. And then half of it doesn't happen in the movie because they were so divorced from it. So then later on, it becomes the fun thing where you're like, oh, cool. Is this thing that looks neat as a toy actually even going to be in the movie? Or like, you know, did somebody at the toy company just make this completely up?
Yeah. I wish they had done a little more Origins support going into the movie. To be honest,
no, me too.
Figures at retail was not enough for me.
They're going to be doing a lot. It's just
they are.
The big problem is Mattel for whatever reason, and I don't understand what they're holding up on. Like, there's been a ton of stuff revealed now, but you know, Mattel has not disclosed anything about like where it's going to be available or when it's going to be available, which is kind of making me a little nervous. Like, because I don't know, like, yeah, we're still waiting on you know, still waiting on the trap jaw from Walmart, which I'm expecting is supposed to ship on July 1. So I'm expecting a cancellation from Walmart on June 30th.
And finding it in like the Midwest in a clearance section.
Yeah, exactly. There'll be like, you know, 500 of them there.
Yeah.
the what do you call it? The Skell Knight. You know, I showed the core one just now, but like, you know, the origin Skell Knight is was not on the official announcement post that like Mattel put up a couple days ago on social media, but you know, is on the shop.mattel website, like, you know, with you know, no information on where to buy, and has been found and purchased at the Mattel store in El Segundo. So
yeah,
who knows?
I always say, as I always say to you, it's very rare that something comes out that we want that we don't get.
True.
Between all of our friends and our magic toy elf that shall not be named, one way or another, we usually get what we want. So with that, I mean, you know, we've gone a little long, but I want to say thank you for visiting. Thank you for coming. The timing was just perfect. I didn't even plan it this way, but it worked out very perfect. If anybody that's watching or on the replay is watching and doesn't know, Bill does amazing custom work, surprises Junior and us every year, and tell them where they can find you on the internet to look at
yeah, easiest thing is I'm on Instagram, where I post all of my custom, or some of my customs, not all. I usually am too busy making stuff to actually post it, or, you know, driving around looking for stuff to buy instead. But at Zombie Casablanca, ZOMBICASABLANCA, and
it's in the description
too.
So if you want to click on it, it's down there.
That's yeah, that's about it for now. I mean, I'm, you know, just chilling out there. So
this comment's very funny because you are one of the guys that find stuff before anybody. You are part of our little core 4 that find everything here in Connecticut. So don't sell yourself short. Without you, Bill and I would not get as much as we do sometimes. So don't sell yourself short there.
And yeah, this wasn't, I know we're running long. This wasn't scripted, and this is completely off topic, but just, I admitted to Junior earlier today, I wanted to admit to you too, with photo evidence on camera, that with my rule to myself regarding the tumultuous future of DC, I lasted 1 week. So yeah,
I didn't. I lasted 4 hours until I woke up and went and got them.
I was proud of myself. I lasted for 1 week before I broke.
They are incredible, and if they had ankle articulation, they'd be fine. And they even scale very well. For those of you wondering, they scale very well with McFarlane. So if you want a Robin to go with your McFarlane Batman, go get the core. Yeah, for sure. Thank you for joining me. It was great to have you on. Join us next week, working that out, because it won't be a live. It'll be a pre-tape, because I've got something going on next weekend, and over the summer we'll have some more pre-tapes because vacations happen. But until then, everybody, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Saturday night we in here. Kastor's Korner. Yeah. 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 Saturday night we in here. Kastor's Korner. Pull up, step in, yeah, the room feel right. Every week, same crew, yeah, we back on time. New faces, old names, I see everybody. From the chat to the screen, yeah, the vibe stay solid. Hit the comments, let it fly, let it show what you like. Who we talking to next, who we bringing on mic. Every voice matter here, yeah, we building it right. We just here for the love every Saturday night. We in the room, yeah, we live tonight. Say it in the chat, let me know you alright. Show what you love, let it shine, let it move. We collect cause we love it, that's the truth. Korner Live, yeah, the whole crew here. Every comment, every voice, yeah, we all in here. Price don't matter, it's the time that we spend. It's the talk, it's the bond, we connect in the end. Shout out, weekly viewers, yeah, you know who you are. Been here from the start, helped us take it this far. To the guests on the show, yeah, we thank y'all too. Every combo, every moment, yeah, we building with you. From the likes to the shares, yeah, we see all that. Every comment, every post, yeah, we read all that. Tell a friend, bring